Alright, Shalom Hebrews. This is the message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Okay, Hebrews, what I'm finna do is shed some light on Edom and his origin, because if you leave it to the camps and we get a explanation from these Hebrew organizations that's using Jewish myths, you ain't gonna never know the truth. They got everybody running around thinking that Edom is the Caucasian race, or the non-pigmented people, or the people that we call white people, Europeans. And that's not so. Even though Edom did, mix with some of them, and like during the Roman times and so forth, and maybe during the Greek times. But, before then, Edom was kind of like mostly in his heritage, and Edom can be traced. Those are not the images of the Edomites, but those are some images of the Hittites, just in case you Hebrews looking and want to know what those images are. And Edom gonna mix with them Hittite folks first, and then that's where Edom descendants lost their pigmentation. It don't matter what pigmentation and how Edom look, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna go about his descendants after him and what they continuously did. Edom descendants mix with non-pigmented people, and then they mix with pigmented people too. That's why I kind of got this up here. Edom descendants lost their pigmentation and they became Semitic mix and would take on a mixed look to white. And the reason that I say that Edom kids would have a mixed look, and first of all, that word Semitic means mix and semi, half and half of this and half of that. And what the people today that control Western culture, we already know that's the Babylonian scribes, and they the origin of the Semitic people, is that they want you to think that Semitic means being against, white folks and so forth. But when Semitic is mostly a term that's applied to the ancient tribes, and mostly the ancient tribes that the Hebrews were against, or that the Israelites were against. Those would be Semitic peoples, because they had mixed with the Hittites and with Cain seed, and they gonna mix with them folks up around, the Caucasus Mountain, and how I got videos explaining how Cain seed, how Cain was chased out the garden, and how Cain went up to the Caucasus Mountain up here in Turkey, and how they built them underground cities, and how Cain descendants in the Bible would be all those tribes and peoples like Timnah, Sir, and those people that didn't have a descendancy with Prophet Noah's sons, Japhet, Ham, and Shem. And then here is some people that pop up with names but with no genealogy. Those are gonna be Cain descendants, and they had Tazarat on them. They didn't have no pigmentation, and they lived in the Caucasus Mountain, and they lived up underground in Turkey. Them gonna be the people that fled from the flaming sword and went underground and so forth in Turkey, and they will be the Hittites. And I show how Edom mixed with the Hittites and had one of their girls, had a couple of their girls, the Hittites, and then how he would mix with them, and then how they wouldn't have no pigmentation. And then I could show how Edom territory is in the beginning of what's called Saudi Arabia. But the Saudi Arabians mostly gonna be the Ishmaelite kids that had lost their pigmentation too. The Ishmaelite kids that lost their pigmentation also mixed up with Edom and they will become the Nabateans, and how the Nabateans and the Edomites are kind of like, the same people, and they would represent the Saudi Arabia tribes. And then I can also show that Edom's son, Eliphaz's son, Yemen, is Teman, and Omar is Omen, and how this would be a whole Edomite inheritance. But like I say, Edom can take on a mixed look and so forth, because he went over into Ethiopia and he mixed with some of them folks, and then Edom would have an Egyptian inheritance. Pharaoh gave Edom some land during King David time, when King David was after them Edomites, and he cleared them out, and did them in real good, and how some of them escaped to Egypt, and how all our enemies found refuge in Egypt, and Edom was given land there. And I can show, and I'm gonna prove that Edom descendants are in the promised land now, and they got control of Egypt. Edom, is an enemy of the Israelites, and these camps and these organizations want to paint a picture of Edom being all the Caucasians, because what happened to us during the slavery era and during the slavery times. But them Hebrews don't know who controlled and profited from the slavery, and how those weak Europeans that come over and participated in the slavery trade, and had they little dealings with it in the South, were really weak and was like workers, do boys, and so forth, and how they really didn't profit, even though some of them people from Europe and they descendants got land and they rich here in America now. But the majority of the wealth went to the corporations, and we know who controlled the corporations. The banks controlled them. And then I can show how that money in the slavery days really helped Ashkenazi get off their feet. Ashkenazi got up real good. The Sephardi Jews did too. They profited big time from the slavery trade. They was able to send their people back to the homeland, the promised land, and stake a claim during the transatlantic slavery times. They sold cotton all over the world, and cotton was a big commodity. But not only did the Hebrews, pick cotton and so forth, that we, harvest a whole lot of economic entities for our enemies. Sugar cane, cotton, and man, you name it, we, did it for them here. And then, how the Edomites, played a part in that. But how our enemies, been, fooling everybody, and they got all the Hebrews thinking that the Caucasian race are the Edomites, and that's false. We could trace Edom's heritage because we got records that we put together, that our ancestors put together, and that's called the Tanakh history. Our ancestors put the Tanakh together and so forth. So we got some history that we can look into about Edom. But the problem that we would mostly have with the Edomites, it's gonna start back to when Edom sold his heritage to our father Jacob. Edom was a sellout, and Edom sold out and was sell out quick, as what happened, with he sold his birthright to our father Jacob. And then how he gonna get mad about that. Edom, our mother Rebecca, when she sent Jacob in there to present himself in front of our father Isaac, and Isaac couldn't see real good, and then he gave the blessings to Jacob, Israel. Well, the Creator was saving us, was working through our mother Rebecca to save the future Israelite nation, because if that promise would have went over to Edom by accident, then we couldn't be the people that we supposed to be, because the Edomites, went off into the Canaanite tribes, the people who we were supposed to destroy. So therefore, if he had got the covenant that Jacob, was supposed to go to Edom, then, man, it wouldn't have went right, because Edom would have spared them Canaanites because he married into them and so forth. But we would have to, get an understanding about Edom first with his grandfather, Prophet Abraham. We would have to get a understanding of Edom from our prophet, from our father, Prophet Abraham, because our prophet Abraham came into the area of Canaan, to displace them, his descendants, to displace them and take that land over. So, it was important that Abraham's seed didn't mix with the Canaanite tribes, and Edom sold out. And then Edom, because he sold out and mixed with our enemies, then his kids would become our enemies because they mix with the enemies. And the Tanakh show this, and I'm going to show that. All right, our father Abraham, was up in age and so forth when he, had Isaac and so forth. We know Ishmael was born first. And also, our father Abraham had some other kids too by the sister named Keturah. She's, one of our mothers too, but our mother gonna come from Sarah. That's who our mother is. And Abraham, but we have to get a understanding that Prophet Abraham, didn't want his sons or his descendants to mix up with the Canaanite tribes, and then we'll go to Genesis 24, and then we're gonna read about this, and then I'm gonna show you also that Prophet Abraham came from Chaldea when the Africans stopped control. This was just before the Scythians got in and took it over. And you know how Chaldea was, an African held nation, and that's where our father come from. But look, and Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Elohim blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Elohim, the Yah of heaven, and the Yah of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. You see, he didn't want, Isaac to get no daughters from the Canaanites. So, this is before Edom was born, so that was already established that we should mix with the Canaanites coming from Prophet Abraham, who his, descendants should mix with the Canaanite tribes. All right, so we see this. So it says, but thou shalt go unto my country and to take my kindred and to take a wife unto my son Isaac. All right, let's see where Prophet Abraham, come from, and then we can get a even better understanding. All right, so then we'll go to Genesis 15, Genesis 15:7, Genesis 15:7, and it says, and he said unto him, I am the Elohim that brought thee out of the land of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it. Okay, the Chaldeans gonna be a land that the Assyrians, created and founded, and then I could show that the Africans and Hamites made up the Assyrian nation, and that Assyria was a son of Nimrod, and how he's the founder of Assyria, and how those are Hamites that lived in Mesopotamia. All right, so we see that right there, that Prophet Abraham come from Chaldea. And look, we'll have folks that say, oh, Abraham came from Chaldea. And you know, like that's supposed to really mean something. Oh, okay, he came from Chaldea. And we can show that Chaldea was an Assyrian created nation, and that the Chaldeans' whole nation was made up of, you know, African stock, a pigmented stock, and how that they would get mixed later on when the Amorite tribes came in and then mixed with them. All right, so we see that Prophet Abraham, you know, came from Chaldea. So then let's go look and see, you know what I'm saying, what Chaldea come about. And then you would go to Isaiah, I think it's 23:7. Prophet Isaiah, this the man. Prophet Isaiah 23:7 is for the Hebrews. Be making sure that I put these verses down. We're going to put these verses down. Right. You see, it's Isaiah 23:7. I mean, chapter 23:13. And behold, the land of the Chaldeans, this people was not till the Assyrians founded it for them that dwell in the wilderness. They set up the towers thereof, they raised up the palaces thereof, and they brought it to ruin. Okay, if you go to Nahum 3, we're going to see who the Assyrian power was and who they depended on for their strength. You know, I got videos explaining the Assyrians' empire and our Israelite relation to them. And, you know, how the Assyrians came and kidnapped us to help them, because how them Scythians and them Hittite mixed folks was tearing Assyria mouth out, you know, in his last days, and how it was over with for them. I turn right to Nahum. That's a blessing. I ain't have to go flip through all these pages. But the prophet Nahum was wrote in 697 BC, and this is about the destruction of Assyria. And you know, I got videos explaining why Assyria was destroyed and how they let them Scythian type people kick it up in their nation, and then how that them Scythian Hittite type folks got too deep, and then how Assyria couldn't get them out of there, and then how it was over with, and then they destroyed Assyria. Alright, this is talking about Assyria. Art thou better than, this is Nahum chapter 3 verse 8. Art thou better than populous Noah, that was situated among the rivers, that waters round about it, whose rampart was the sea, and her walls was the sea? Ethiopia and Egypt were her strength, and it was infinite. Put and Libya, that's Libya, were thy helpers. You know, those were Assyria's helpers. So, you know, Prophet Abraham coming from Chaldea don't mean nothing, you know, like how they want you to say, well, he come from Chaldea, because, you know, they want you to think that the Caucasians who took over Chaldea later, after they done, you know, got them Assyrians weak, and then took that little nation over from them, and then how that they would come with the Babylonians and get us and be all Caucasian mixed like folks. So they would want you to think that Abraham come from, you know, them parts and during that time, you know, and that's false history. Okay, so we know that Prophet Abraham was told that his descendants shouldn't take on no descendants from the Canaanites, who Prophet Abraham was going in there to destroy, or with no people that is related to them. And how, you know, our father Isaac, you know, was told the same thing, and how he would make the same thing, you know, meant about Jacob, how he shouldn't take no tribes of the daughter of the Canaanites, and how that was a oath that he took. But before then, Edom had messed off and went into the Hittites, the folks that we wasn't supposed to be mixing up with. Okay. Let me see. We'll go to Genesis 26. Let's see, Genesis 26. All right. This is about Jacob and Esau. All right. So we know that that it made our father real mad that Edom would go marry them Hittite folks. And I'm gonna show that. All right. And this is real important to understand. Get a little history about Edom, before he was born and so forth, and understand the things that he shouldn't have did, and that would make him bad. You know what I'm saying? See, some of these folks try to paint Edom as a image of a monster and so forth, and really all Edom is guilty of is mixing with our enemies and becoming them, and how we have enemies that's eternal, that no matter what, that they out for our destruction, and if we get on our feet, they know what we gonna do to them. So it's been like that for a long time. All right, this is Genesis 26. And look, also our father Isaac was told not to go down into Egypt when there was a famine, and probably because them Hamites was on the throne. But our father Abraham went down into Egypt when it was kind of like a famine, and so did our father Israel. Jacob went down into Egypt with the Creator's knowledge, but the prophet Isaac, he was told not to go to Egypt. And he couldn't go there. So it was important that he stayed in the land and held it down. Let me see. And there was a famine in the land. This is Genesis 26. And there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Amalek, king of the Philistines, unto Ger. And the Elohim appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I tell thee of. See, it was a famine, and Isaac had to stay in the land where it was a famine, and our father Jacob was taken to Egypt to live, and so was our father Abraham taken to Egypt, what I'm saying, to stay. You know what I'm saying? Let me look at that real quick. That's gonna be Genesis 12. Genesis 12. Alright. Alright, see, look. Alright, and there come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, you know what I'm saying? They was trying to get our mama and so forth, Sarah and so forth, because she was so fine. But Abraham went down into Egypt, and the Creator knew it, and it wasn't no big thing. And how Abraham, our father, Prophet Abraham, got gold and sheep, and how he went south of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? And we know south of Egypt is going towards the Sudan and so forth, and how he went down into the Sahara and got cattle and so forth and gold, and then went back to the promised land. See, and it come to pass that when Abraham was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was, fine. Let me see. And princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commanded her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house, and he entreated Abraham all for her sake, and he had sheep and oxen and asses and manservants and maidservants and asses and camels. And the Elohim plagued, Pharaoh, and then our father would come up out of there, and Abraham went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had Lot with him into the south. And Abraham was very rich in cattle and silver and in gold. He went down into the south, and then he gonna dip, and go on over into Canaan and so forth. And then while he was down in Egypt is when he got Hagar. And then Hagar gonna have Ishmael, and then Ishmael wasn't given that 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 order not to mess with them Canaanite tribes and so forth, and how Ishmael had an Egyptian inheritance and so forth, But let me get back to reading about our father Isaac. Oh, let me show our father Jacob being, told to go down into Egypt. So, Egypt was a cool place for us to go at certain times. And then certain times we couldn't go to Egypt. Alright. Let me see. Alright. Alright, that's 15. Alright, let's see. That's gonna be Genesis 46 with our father prophet Israel going down into Egypt, just like our father prophet Abraham, but our father prophet Isaac, the Creator, told him not to go in Egypt. Alright. And Israel took his journey. This is Genesis 46. And Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba. Our father Isaac is going to be the founder of Beersheba. That's when the Creator gave him a message. And that's, he created and founded Beersheba and offered sacrifice unto the Yah of his father Isaac. And the Elohim spake unto Israel in the vision of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here I am. And he said, I am the Elohim, the Yah of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. So our father went down into Egypt. But our father Isaac didn't go down in Egypt. Our father Abraham did. Okay. But it was important for us not to mess with the Canaanite tribes. And Edom didn't hold on to that, and then if the blessings would have went over to Edom, how we wouldn't be the Israelites that we are, today is supposed to be. Alright. And there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Amalek, king of the Philistines, unto Ger. And the Elohim appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and I will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed will I give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in this seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because the father Abraham, obeyed his voice and kept his charge, and did what the Creator asked him to do. So Isaac dwelled in Ger, and the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, She is my sister. Our women were so fine that, we had to say that was our sister, because back in the days that they had killed a male and take the woman. There wasn't no police to protect you. If you had a fine woman, there wasn't no police to protect you. You had to protect your woman. And 9 out of 10, they'd kill you and take your woman. That's how they did in the days and so forth. But our father, Isaac, can hold his down, and Abraham too, But when they went to the big cities and so forth, or come into contact with them big tribes, with them big old armies, then, they had to play that little role and stuff. But the Creator was with them, and, would plague our, adversaries for messing with our mamas. Alright, and Isaac dwelt in Ger, and the men of the place asked him, if that's the one, she is my wife. He said, the men of the place should kill me for Rebecca because she was, fine to look upon. Alright, and then as you read, Amalek called Isaac and said, behold, sure, she is that sister. Alright, the Philistines believed in the Creator, the man at that time, and Isaac, would get the land and so forth, but he would, tell his, descendants, not to mess with them Canaanite tribes. And then how he had got some land, our father Abraham from them Hittites. And then I guess because, man, I think, Edom was born and Jacob was born then, that Jacob, didn't go over to the Canaanite and Hittite tribes, but Edom did, and Edom was 40 years old. See, man, here go our father Isaac, the founders of Beersheba, and I can show you how Beersheba was mentioned, in Second Chronicles 30, with King Hezekiah sending a letter to gather all the Israel from Beersheba to Dan. Well, our father Isaac is the founder of Beersheba. And it, let me see, and Isaac the servants came and told him concerning the way, and he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of man unto Isaac and to our mother Rebecca. That was a grief. Here it is. They fresh in the land and then had some kids, some twins, and then one of them went and married into the enemies. You know what I'm saying? And gonna have some kids. And this is how Edom would lose his pigmentation. His descendants would come out with no pigmentation because he mixed with the Hittites, gonna be descendants from Cain, and then they lived in the mountains in Turkey, and then underground they lived in the Caucasus Mountain, and they lived in them cities underground that stretched all the way from Turkey all the way to London, and all had underground cities all up under Europe and stuff, and hundreds of thousands of them lived underground. They didn't have no pigmentation. And I got a little some of this history up. I got a video dedicated to that, how they live underground and so forth. But these folks telling you how the Hittites lived underground, and they wouldn't have no pigmentation. Back in the days, they didn't have air conditioners and suntan lotion. Them folks had to find somewhere serious to hide to get away from that sun. And them folks would go underground and so forth. Listen.
Quaint villages, roads, and farmlands is one of the largest subterranean battlefields in the world. First carved out by the pagan Hittites over 3,000 years ago.
The Hittites
hundreds of underground cities span for miles.
It's what
and have endured
Edom mixed up with.
wars, religious battles, and constant conflict that have always threatened to destroy them. From tunnels rigged with booby traps.
You couldn't get in there and get them there. Get you.
To the clandestine roots of Christianity.
This is the first monastery of the world.
This in Turkey. This is where Christianity come from. That's where they created Christianity come from. But they gonna tell you that the Hittites lived underground and that they didn't have no pigmentation. I got images, men of the Hittites and so forth, and how them folks didn't have no pigmentation. You see, that's where they gonna stay at right there. That's Turkey, and that's where them 7 churches of Asia that's written in the New Testament come from. It's gonna be them folks. I got videos showing how, Ashkenazi is the Scythians, and how them folks, lived all up in here and in the Caucasus Mountain and so forth. But Turkey, them folks are them Hittites. Them Hittite folks didn't have no pigmentation. They ain't have no pigmentation, and they would live in the mountains. You know, they would live in the mountains and so forth. You get what I'm saying? Go to some images of them Hittites right there. They would live underground in them cities underground. You know, I got a video, you know, dedicating, man, to how they live underground. That's to be them Hittites right there. That's them. And Edom kids would come out looking like that too. They wouldn't have no pigmentation. You know, let's go look and see some of the people that Edom mixed up with, and then we could trace them. That's, you know, they could be found, but it was a grief to our mother and father that, you know, Edom had went over to the Hittites and married one of them, and then would have kids by them, and then how our mother Rebecca know that Edom done messed off with them folks, and how that was a grief to us, you know, to our father Isaac and our mother Rebecca, because here Edom done violated the Creator's word and breaking down prophet Abraham's, you know, his grandfather's oath, you know, not to mess with them folks and no nobody in that land. And then how Edom turned around and did it, so Edom wouldn't have no pigmentation. And it come to pass, this is Genesis 27, and it come to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes was dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here I am. And he said, behold, now I am old, and I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapon and thy quiver and thy bow, and go out to the field and take of me some, you know, some food, and make me some savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for some visions, you know, some meat to bring it, you know. And then our mama Rebecca gonna step in, because she already knew. You already see that, you know, Esau already in the messed off with the Hittites. This is way before Isaac, you know, get, you know, almost on his, you know what I'm saying, on his deathbed. And that probably what put him on his deathbed, is that Edom then went over and mixed with them Hittites, and knowing that prophet Isaac had a direct relationship with the Creator. That's gonna make him sick. That's gonna grieve him. That's gonna almost put him in his grave, because he see the promise going down the drain. He see the promise going down the drain. Here it is, his son, the minute when it mixed with them non-pigmented folks and so forth. And then, you know, how he see everything going down the drain. But our mother Rebecca was smart, and then she spake to Jacob, you know, her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, bring him food and make him savory meat, that he may bless thee before the Elohim, before his death. So, you know, she knowing that Isaac, our father Isaac, is hooked up with the Creator, that his blessings gonna come true. Whatever he say, the Creator gonna bring it to pass. So, you know, she would tell Jacob to go in there and do what he did, you know, present that meat and play like his brother, because like I say, she was trying to save the Israelite nation, the future Israelite nation. This is a woman, and our Hebrew women do that. They be making some good decisive moves when it's real important. You can count on the Hebrew sister to come through, and that's what happened when she told, you know, her son, you know, the other son, to go in there, you know, and get the blessings from his father. Because remember, Edom had mixed off with them Hittite folks, so his descendants wouldn't have no pigmentation, and his descendants would become part of the people that we were supposed to get rid of. All right. So, you know, Jacob, you know what I'm saying, gonna go in there, and his mother said unto him, and upon me thy curse. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. You know what I'm saying? She went and fetched the food and the savory meat, and then he got the blessings. You know what I'm saying? But before then, you know, Esau gonna be done sold his blessings. You know, Esau was a sellout. You know, Edom was a sellout. And he gonna be done already sold his main blessings, the inheritance, you know, to our father Jacob. You know, because Jacob probably gonna peep how he been messing around with them Hittites, them non-pigmented girls, them white girls, Esau messing with them. So Jacob gonna see this, and he gonna be more in line with his father message and with his with his grandfather message, Father Abraham. You know, our father Abraham, he gonna be in the line with this message. So he gonna make that move, you know, to get this stuff, you know, the land from Edom. You know, Edom said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee. You know, this is Genesis 25, and how, you know, Edom sold everything to his brother for some food, you know, which showed that he'll sell out real easy. You know what I'm saying? Edom said, behold, I am at this point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do me? And he said, swear to me this day, and he swore unto him, and he sold him his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage. You know, he had to make that move, like I said, because if not, then Edom was going to, you know, give everything to them folks, to them Hittite folks. You know, they eventually got our heritage because they tricked us, you know, through the Egyptians. And then, you know, them folks were settled in our land. All right, so we see how, you know, Prophet Isaac, you know, blessed Jacob, and how our mother sent them in there to get the blessings from his father, because like I said, if not, man, we couldn't got the heritage that we're supposed to. So we know that Edom is a sellout. All right, let's go see some more about Edom. So we know, you know, Edom probably did the same move that, you know, them Hittites probably, them folks probably got a hold to Edom and weakened him, like they tried to pull that move on Prophet Joseph when Pharaoh gave him Asenath, trying to plant the seed, knowing that Prophet Isaac was blessed by the Creator. The Philistines and the people in the land that we came in contact with knew that. So they would try to subvert Isaac's sons. You know what I'm saying? And Edom would, you know, become victim of that. Just like how the Egyptians tried to play us, and they planted a seed with Joseph, giving Joseph Asenath, the priest of On daughter, after Joseph answered Pharaoh's dream, and how that would destroy us later on. Well, they enemies been trying to get us for a long time and take us down all the way, going back to the beginning. All right, so we see that our mother Rebecca saved us from Esau getting that blessing and taking it over to the Hittites. Now let's look at some of the people that Edom would mix up with, and then, you know, you'll know that, you know, we wasn't supposed to have no blessings going to Edom, because Edom would mix up with our enemies. And, you know, those are the people we were supposed to destroy. Alright. And Esau, look, right after our father Isaac died and gone and get buried, the Esau just went buck wild and started mating with all the enemies, all the people that he wasn't supposed to mate with, that he went and mated with them, which was a good thing. While mother Rebecca sent Jacob in there to get them blessings, because he would have gave our whole heritage over to these folks early in the game, and we couldn't have been the Israelite nation that we were supposed to be. All right, Esau took wives of the daughter of Canaan. This is Genesis 36. And Esau took wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Amolah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zebon the Havite, and Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nejobat. You know, that's supposed to be where those Nabateans come from, you know, off her line. You see, and Hadar bare to Esau Eliphaz and Bashemath Raul. Well, Eliphaz's sons can be identified, and Eliphaz was a son of Edom, and he gonna be a Edomite, and then he probably, he ain't gonna have no pigmentation. He gonna be born mixed looking too, like them herbs look and so forth. So we know Edom went into the Canaanite tribes and the Hittite tribes in Ishmael daughter. You know what I'm saying? I got some history up on the Nabateans. The Nabateans are Ishmael's descendants mixed with the Edomites, and they will become one. And then that's how the Arabs, the people that they call Arabs, are Edomites mixed with Edomites mixed with Ishmaelites. So they're gonna be really Edomites. All right, look, you see this map right here that they're showing. See the Nabatea? That's gonna be right behind. That's gonna be right behind. That's gonna be Saudi Arabia right there. You know, I'm gonna go to the Google map. All right, that's gonna be Saudi Arabia right there. You know, we're gonna look right here. See all this? This is where that little piece of land was. You know, Jordan is Edom's inheritance. Jordan is Edom's inheritance. And Edom, you know, on the other side of Edom was the Moabites and them Amorites. Where that's Edom's inheritance is Jordan, but it went all the way into Arabia, where Ishmael kids was sent to the east. And I'm gonna show this too. Ishmael kids was sent to the east, and then how that they would, you know, mix up with them Edomites, as shown in this map right here. How Edom is right there. It's like in Saudi Arabia, but if you look right here, Edom. You see the Nabateans, and then you see Edom, and then this Edomite. You see this Edomite, and this Edomite is going to be the combination of Ishmaelites and Edomites and all them. And Edom will settle right there, and then how that they will be forced converted to Judaism in 130 BC under this dude named John Harnicus. You know, he converted all Edom to Jewishness, and they would become Jews. And how you see them is that they call the Sephardim. They're going to be having the Arab-like look. You know, they're going to have that mixed look, you know, Semitic look. All right, so we see Edom right there, and then I'm going to show how Edom is our enemy, because Edom mixed with our enemies. But you see this right here. See, all right. And it says, unlike the rest of the Arabian tribes, the Nabatean later emerged as a vital players in the region during their time of prosperity. However, they later faded and began the brief Babylonian captivity of Hebrews that began in 5, and you see open a minor power vacuum in Judah prior to the Judeans' return under Persian king, when the land was empty for those 60 years of Hebrews, while we was in Africa, the 99%, and then while that 1% was in the Babylonian captivity, and how the land was void is when Edom and the Nabateans and all them moved into the promised land and will become known as Israelites later on. All right, who regained, all right, as Edomites. Look, already says, as Edomites move into open Judean grazing land, Nabatean inscriptions began to appear in Edomite territory. The first definite appearance of dates from 312 to 311 BC, when they were, you know what I'm saying? So, but the Edomites, you know, and the Nabateans became one. And the Nabateans are like the Ishmaelites that's found, all the Ishmaelite tribes combined. That's the, you know, the Saudi Arabians, and then how that they mix with the Edomites and become one. You know, they all lost their pigmentation. But that go to Nabateans right there. See, they would lose their pigmentation because of the Edomites mixed with them. And the Edomites would lose their pigmentation because they mixed with them Hittites. You know, that's an Edomite right there. Those are Edomites. You know, they lost their pigmentation, but they are not the Caucasian white folks. They are the Semitic mixed like people. You know, like the ones, them Arabs. You know, them Hispanics and so forth. They gonna have that look. That's that real Semitic look. All right. You see them? Those are Edomites. Those are Edomites. And this is the Edomites' home. And the Nabateans and the Edomites will become one. And then that's how, you know, that, you know, in Saudi Arabia, Edom heritage went to Saudi Arabia, and they even carried the sword. The image, the sword is part of their logo and stuff. But we see how Edom mixed with the tribes that we wasn't supposed to mix with. So therefore, you know, it was said, you know, that Edom would be our enemies. You know, Edom our enemy because he mixed with our enemy. So therefore he would become the enemy because his kids would take on, you know, the inheritance of our enemies. That's like now. Our enemy is trying to get us to mix thoroughly. So, you know, we'll be in the same position where our kids from them will become enemy to us, Hebrew Israelites. And usually, you know, the mixed folks, they gonna go side with they people and stuff. And how they gonna turn their back? Man, how they gonna turn their back? Man, on us real Israelites in time of need and so forth. Alright, so this is our enemies right here. And you're gonna see that Edom is named among our enemies. So Edom is our enemies, and Edom mixed with the Nabateans, who are the Saudi Arabians and so forth. They will become one. And how Edom will mix with the royalty of the Greeks in the Romans and so forth. All right, keep not thou silence, O Yah, hold not thy peace. This is Psalms 83. Keep not thy silence, O Yah, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yah. For lo, then enemies make a torment, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And they basically tried to do that in the slavery days, and they trying to do that now. They going all out to try to keep us from coming into our Israelite heritage. And then if you do come into your Israelite heritage, you're going to come into it up under our enemies, under their directions and so forth. That's how they trying to get it. And man, they been our enemies since ancient times, and how these same Edomites took over our community and so forth, on all the stores, on all the gas station businesses, and how they won't give us no job. They been our ancient enemies for a long time. And how you have Hebrews running to them gas stations, kissing them folks behind like they something special, not knowing that they here for our destruction. And then while we shop in them stores, in them gas stations, filling their pockets with our money, they go buy up all the houses in the neighborhood that we can't afford, because we trying to live, and then turn around and rent them, and then move you out the neighborhood because you can't afford the rent. That's what they doing to us, and they trying to destroy us, our enemies, and they trying to cut us off. And then if you tell them old Edomites that we the Hebrews in them gas stations, they'll have a fit. They have a fit and stomp their feet and clench their fists and everything. I almost be ready to kill you up in there. You tell them you're an Israelite. They don't want to hear that. They want us to stay Negroes, black, somebody that they can step on and dog out, you know. All right, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, all our enemies together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacle of Edom, the Ishmaelites, the Moabite, and the Hagarenes, that's them Egyptians. Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines, with their inhabitants of Tri, Usher, that's the Assyrians, also is joined with them. And we know that the Assyrians tried to destroy us with the Egyptians in their last days, because they know that we supposed to hold the covenant, and that they was doing everything to get us up out that covenant, and they succeeded. We was driven off the land during the Babylonian wars. Usher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Do unto them as unto the Mendonites, as to Sisera and Jabin at the brook of Kishron, which perish at Endor. They become as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Orb and like Zeb, yeah, all their princes as Zebah and Zolmanah, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of Yah in possession. O my Yah, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So prosecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Elohim Yah. You know, so our enemies, man, them our enemies. And we even state that them folks are our enemies and so forth. And Edom would become our enemy is because Edom mixed up with them, with the Hittite and the Canaanite tribes. And our father Abraham was given the oath that his descendants wouldn't do that. And how our father Isaac tried to keep the same oath, but how Edom broke it. So the creed of wrath would be on Edom, because Edom broke the covenant, broke the promise before we even had a chance to get the covenant. And then how Edom would be counted amongst our enemies from then on out. He would be an enemy to us. And how he hated the prophet, he hated his brother Jacob. All right, let's go to Jeremiah. Ezekiel, the prophet Ezekiel, tell you about our enemy Edom too. And then after this, I'm going to go show you how Edom got an Egyptian heritage through Ishmael. Alright, so the Edomites would be the Nabateans, the Yemenites, the people from Yemen. It is Teman's son too. It's Teman Eliphaz. Look, they'll tell you, men, according to the Bible, Teman means on the right and south. Teman, and it is the name of a district town in the land of Edom. It is a district in the town in the land of Edom, named after Teman. So they telling you that, you know, Saudi Arabia and all that Edom, that's like Omar is Oman. That's gonna be Eliphaz's son. Teman is Yemen. That's Eliphaz's son. All of them would be Edomites. They kept their heritage. They didn't go do mess off, you know. They stayed within their Edomite heritage. In the name of the district Edom, named after Teman, the grandson of Yemen, the son of Eliphaz. All right, Teman is Yemen. All right, they'll tell you. Teman is Yemen. All right, and then that's Eliphaz's son. See. Teman. Teman. Hebrew word for Yemen, homeland of the Temani, Yemenite Jews. You know, those gonna be the Jews that converted to Judaism under Harnakas, and also, you know, they took our land over when we ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars. So this would be Edom's land right here. all this Edom. All this Edom. The whole Arabia Peninsula, peninsula is Edom. And how that they would move up during the Babylonian wars and take the promised land over with the Amorites. And then the Amorites and the Edomite would mix. And that would be keeping with that Semitic term. You know, the Semitics, Semite. You know, Edom would be mixed in with the Amorites. And the Amorites and the Moabites, the Amorites, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, all of them would constitute the Semitic people and the rest of the Canaanite tribes, because they all mix with them Hittites that come, you know, from up in Turkey and the Caucasus Mountain and so forth. Okay, so let's look what the prophet Ezekiel got to say, man, about our enemy. So we know that Edom is our enemy. Some of you Hebrews can't get the understanding in that, and Edom is going to be them Saudi Arabia type folks. Moreover, the word of the Elohim came unto me. This is Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35. Moreover, the word came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Elohim Yah, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Elohim, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So when we was down on our knees, all messed up and through, is when Edom came in there and finished us off. Edom came in there and finished us off. And look here, I'm going to show you that Edom is the sword. Let me see. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Saudi Arabia got a sword image. Man, it's on their map. And then they brung the sword out on us. You know, they brung the sword out on us. And then they carry that sword too. Look at them. That sword in their hand. Bring the sword out of those are Edomites right there. Those are Edomites mixed with Ishmaelites. They would all be one. Ishmael would lose his heritage to the Edomites. They'd all become one. And you see how they got the sword. That's their image. That's their sword right there. That's their Edomite. And then, you know, you see what the Creator said. And I'm going to show you how they come out with that sword against us. You know, in Prophet Moses' time. When we tried to come across their land, coming out of Egypt, and how they know we was already dogged out by the Egyptians, and how they wouldn't let us cross. You know, them Edomites will wait till you get down and down falling on the ground, and then they'll come step on you. All right, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Elohim Yah, I will prepare thee unto the blood, and blood shall pursue thee. This said, thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. This will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off it him that passeth out, and him that returneth, and I will fill his mountains with his slain men. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in thy rivers shall thou fall that are slain with the sword, and I will make thee perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Elohim. That's why they went to Saudi Arabia and them parts, because them other parts by Petra. Petra is gonna be their old spot. Petra gonna be their old spot, and how the Creator destroyed it and got them and ran them out of there, and how they went and settled, you know what I'm saying, in Saudi Arabia. You know, they moved a little more south, and then that's why them Yemen and Omar are Edomite descendants in the south. Alright. Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine. He talking about our inheritance. And we will possess it, whereas the Elohim was there. Therefore, as I live, said the Elohim, Yah, I will even do according to thee in anger, and according to thee in envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them when I judge thee, said the Elohim. And thou shalt know that I am the Elohim, and that I have heard all thy blasphemy which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. And this is during the Babylonian wars. Prophet Ezekiel was taken off the Babylon, and he was telling you about Edom. But before Prophet Ezekiel gave his message, that was the Prophet Obadiah message, about Edom. Look, this said, let me see, and thou shalt know that I am the Elohim, and that I have heard all thy blasphemy which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, yeah, they are laid waste, they are given us to consume. This with your mouth ye have boast against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. This said the Elohim, Yah, when the whole earth rejoices, I will make thee desolate. That's when this country fall. The whole earth gonna be happy. And thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate. So will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Edom. All Edom. See, but Jesus had them Edomites as members. Jesus had Edomite as members, and they followed him. He didn't even know that the Edomites wasn't supposed to be in the land. Jesus didn't even know that Herd built that temple that he prayed in and called his daddy house, and that it wasn't refurbished but built from the ground up, and how Jesus was part of the Edomites taking over our heritage, and how he supported them and never said nothing about them taking our heritage over. Even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Elohim. So Edom got it coming by Almighty Yah. Now, you know what I'm saying, we can look and see what's the name heritage. Let's see the Edomites' heritage and what the prophet Obadiah said about them. The prophet Obadiah gave an oracle about Edom too, and how Edom would take our land over and so forth. And how, he said it back in the 1835 BC. It was something like that. And let me find his message, because, man, his message was right on time. Here it is, 853 BC. King, you know what I'm saying, Obadiah, and First Kings 18:4 is where they speak of the prophet Obadiah. The prophet Obadiah's whole message was about Edom. And what prophet Obadiah said in 5 and 853 BC come to pass in the book of Ezekiel when they took the land over during the Babylonian wars. So this come to pass. And then they were mixed with them Amorites. The vision of Obadiah. This said the Elohim Yah concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from thee. Now remember, this is almost 500 years before the Babylonians and the Edomites did it. That prophet Obadiah gave, this oracle about Edom and what he would do, and how it come to pass. Let you know that the Creator is real, and these real prophets. All right. The vision of Obadiah. This said the Elohim Yah concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Elohim, and the ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise, and let us arise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Then pride and heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock. You remember me showing you this right here. How they in the cliffs of the rock right there. That's it. That's Petra. That's the Edomites' home and so forth. All right. Whose habitation is high, that saith in the hole, who shall bring me down to the ground? Thou exalt thyself as the eagle, though thou set thy nest among the stars. And the Edomite from Saudi Arabia, one of those countries, just went up to the International Space Station. So, you know, all this message is on time. Thou that set thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Elohim. If thieves come to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave thee some grapes? How are these things Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? You know what I'm saying? He was hidden from us in the past. All these Hebrews in these camps walking around thinking they Edom is the Caucasians, the Europeans, and that's false history. All right. All the men of thy confederacy, they will be in confederacy with the Edomites against us. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to thy borders. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Elohim, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau, and thy mighty men of Teman shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. Thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captives his forces. Remember, Obadiah giving you this oracle almost 500 years before the Babylonian captivity took place. And then this actually happened right here in the book of Jeremiah, and Ezekiel tell you about it. In that day thou stoodest on the other side. In that day the strangers carried away captives his forces, and foreigners into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even thou was as one of them. And that happened. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger. Neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. You know, and that's what happened during the Babylonian wars. You know, them folks came in and helped the Babylonians chase us out the land and stuff. And how we was driven into Africa, and that 1% that was taken to Babylon, when they came back, you know the enemies destroyed them. Ain't no way in the world that they gonna let them fruitful Israelites stay in the land, and then all them enemies was there, and then they didn't get destroyed. That's why Jesus didn't know that the Edomites shouldn't have been in the land. All right, so then as you read, thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yeah, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. That's going to be the exiles. For the day of the Elohim is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Their reward shall return upon their own head. You know, Edom gonna get it. Edom gonna get it. And the Creator say Edom gonna get it. All right. Them Edomites would go and take Egypt over. You know, the Edomites would also take Egypt over. And then they would take Egypt over when King David chased them Edomites into Egypt, when he was clearing out a town that they was living in. You know, King David wasn't nothing nice, boy. He ain't play with them. He ain't make no friends with the Egyptians and the Edomites. He was trying to take all the heads off. All right. Let's see here. All right. You see this Hadad dude. Like I say, Egypt always trying to give refuge to our enemies. And the Elohim stirred up. This is 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 14. And the Elohim stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad, the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. This is one of the king's sons in Edom. For it come to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of the host, was gone up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel, until he had cut off every male in Egypt. That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants. You see, this will give Edom a breath under Solomon time. They would come out when Solomon, dying stuff. You know what I'm saying? They'll come out of Egypt. But how the Egyptians gave the Edomites a land, and those are the Edomites that's in Egypt now running it, digging everybody up. That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. And they arose out of Medin and came to Paran. Paran is going to be where Ishmael descendants hung out. And how that he went to Paran and then went into Egypt. And then how Edom was already mixed with the Ishmaelites, and how he would hang in Paran with the Ishmaelites. And I'm going to show that. And they arose. See, that make them all one. All our enemies is one. And see how the Ishmaelites was named with our enemies in Psalms 83. And they arose out of Medin and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran, and they came to Egypt unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, which gave him an house, and appointed him food, and gave him land. Gave him land in Egypt. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him to wife the sister of his own wife, the sister of Taphanes, the queen. And the sister of Taphanes born to him Gibeonoth. So he got an Egyptian son. He got an Egyptian son. Edomite got an Egyptian heritage. And that's why them Edomites there in Egypt today. And the sister of Taphanes bore him Genebuth, and his son, whom Taphanes weaned in Pharaoh's house. And Genebuth was in Pharaoh's household among the sons of Pharaoh. And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and that Joab the captain of the host was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, let me depart, that I may go to my own land. See, Solomon wasn't no threat to him. Solomon was selling us out too, and Solomon kicked it with them Egyptians. Matter of fact, we went into slavery and lost our whole heritage because of Solomon. I got a video going into this. And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and that Joab the captain of the host was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, let me depart, that I may go to my own country. Then Pharaoh said unto him, but what hast thou lacked with me, that behold thou seekest to go to thine own country? And he answered, no, howbeit let me go. But he had land there, and he was given land, and those Edomites would go back to that land and rule Egypt. Okay, so we see how Edom is there in the promised land. You know what I'm saying? And then how he come from Nabatea into Edom, and then how they have an Egyptian heritage and how they mix with them Amorites. All right, let's go see about Paran, him and the Ishmaelites. And I already showed how he is descendant. How Edom got some descendants from Ishmael. All right, let's see. Because it would grieve our father Abraham that he went to them Ishmaelites, and also our father was sending them Ishmaelites east when Isaac got everything. This is Genesis 25, and Abraham gave all them some good. This is his kids from Cuthra. He was sending them east. That's gonna be all them Nabatean type folks. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Cuthra, and she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medin, Ishbak, and Su. And Ishak took Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Usharum. And them says to go down. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But of the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac while he yet lived eastward unto the east countries. You know what I'm saying? He sent them east. And then that's going to be, Arabia and all them old places right here. He going to send them east. Get them all away from, when he was over here, he sent them all over here. And then all their descendants would, be all over there in Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is a mixture of Edomites and Ishmaelites. All right. Let me see. So we know that Edom, folks was, in Egypt too, because he had land there. All right. So now let's look and see what our showing that he went to Paran. That's what I wanted to do. How Ishmael seed went to Paran. That's gonna be way back here. Let's see. Yeah, that's gonna be Genesis 21. So we know Edom had went to Paran, and then this where Ishmael hung out in Paran. Alright, and y'all opened her eyes and she saw the water. This is Hagar. After she was, told to leave. Hagar was an Egyptian. Hagar was an Egyptian, so Ishmael kids marrying off into Edom gonna, make Edom have a Egyptian heritage too, and plus Edom was given land in Egypt by Pharaoh. Alright, y'all opened her eyes and she saw water. This is Genesis 21. And she went and filled the Genesis 21:19 in the bottle of water, and he gave the lad. And Yah was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran. And his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. So, that's what her dad ran to from David to Paran, where Ishmael kids was, because those gonna be his relatives, and then he gonna go off into Egypt. You see what I'm saying? He gonna go off into Egypt, and then up on King David's death, he gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? And go back, to his inheritance where the Edomites was, and then how the Edomites would get us during the Babylonian wars. They couldn't get us during King Josiah time, and they didn't try to bother us while we was having it out with them Assyrians and so forth, and how they waited till we was down on our knees and so forth, and then they come put their boot on us, what them Edomites did. Let's see the Edomites, you know what I'm saying, with the sword and so forth. They would come out, men, against us with the sword. You know what I'm saying? When we come out of Egypt. So Edom was an eternal enemy. Alright, let's go to Numbers. That'll be Numbers. When we come out of Egypt, Edom would come at us with a sword and told us we couldn't come across the land. Come across his land. Alright. And let's see. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh. This is Numbers 20. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. And this said, thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travel that hath befallen us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Elohim, he heard our voice and sent an angel, and he had brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost border. See, because Edom had mixed up with the enemies, he didn't care or believe in the Creator. He ain't have no fear of the Creator as Psalms 83 show you that, they didn't believe in the Creator. So Edom heritage went all the way over to our enemies. And when we cried unto the Elohim, he heard our voice and sent an angel and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy borders. Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through thy vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand nor to the left until we have passed thy borders. And Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass me, lest I come out with thee with the sword. And I show you, that's their image. That's their image. The sword. The sword. The sword. They gonna have that sword out. Edom gonna have that sword. And Edom from Nabatea on up to us. And that's, they Shmata and Petrus. Yeah, but Edom put that sword on us. And then that's that sword in the Bible that's talking about. It's Edom's favorite fighting weapon. Alright, Hebrews, we know that Edom is not the Europeans, and how these Hebrews be trying to pass that off, and that be them Hebrews doing it camp history and stuff, believing in that camp message. Alright, so Edom, man, Edom, was against us. Look, and they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom. And the souls of the people was much discouraged because of the way. We ain't want nothing to do with them Edomites. After they done told us they gonna put the sword on us. Alright, Hebrews, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I just proved how we Israelites, the Edomites are our enemies and been our enemies for a long time, And, the Edomites are not the Europeans. Shalom, Hebrews. I pray that this message did you some good. The Edomites are not the Caucasians, the Europeans. But that the Edomites are the Saudi Arabian mixed-like people, the Semitic peoples that's mixed. And they would go into Ethiopia from Yemen. And the Ethiopian Jews are kin to them. And then those Yemenite Jews went, all over North Africa converting. And then in Southern Africa too. The Limbas and the Igabus. They all gonna come off them Edomites and so forth. Alright, shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood.